So, Egypt. First, most obvious thing, to get back to our first gathering, which was about solstice and about all the many places that solstice has been, people have built effigies. So this is Karnak. This is the temple of Karnak at solstice in Egypt. So, of course, the Egyptians would have done something around the solstice. And it's interesting because, well, that kind of just scratches the surface, at least for me. Let me get my notes about this. So Karnak has is a place where, as many of us know, tourists go there, flood there, but for 2020 all the time. And there's different types of tours. There's different types of people that go on tours. From one of the people that I've done a lot of reading, Patricia Corey, has a lot of books and does a lot of programs on Egypt. And she talks about how there's certain parts of Karnak that you can't even find, or you won't even see, because the tours don't take you there unless you're on some sort of a spiritual journey. And there is, in Karnak, there is a temple for their god Ptah. Ptah is the god of creation. His consort is Sekhmet, the lion goddess, the woman who has the fierce feline energy. And first, let me share. I want to give us an overview of how cool Karnak looks in general. And I've never been to Egypt, so I don't even know where in this image this particular temple would be. But from what I've been told, it's not going to be obvious, and it's going to look like you're going the wrong way. And then you arrive at this temple to Ptah and Sekhmet. So Ptah is, as I mentioned, the creator god. So let me see if I can find an image for you of him real quick. And it's interesting that he's coming through right now. So in this image, he's always got this kind of blue head. And he's actually often, when he's been disrespected, his head's just gone. But people who see him, seers who see him, see his head as a blue bubble. And a lot of the Egyptian elders who are not a part of the Department of Antiquities whatsoever will just say, this guy came from the sky. Some people will say this guy came from Sirius. There's Pleiadian and Sirian energy, and I think it's really interesting. You can see his head is interestingly shaped, and it's definitely sky-oriented. And I want to share one more image of Ptah that I think is super relevant for today. And this is obviously, I imagine, enhanced. But you can see how he is this creator god, but he's here to teach us about the power of our consciousness. So if there's a theme that's going on about what type of awakening is happening around the planet right now, and we are now tapping into what the elders of Egypt might have to say about it, it's the power of our consciousness. It's our awakening to this power. And people who find this temple where this god is worshipped, it's only for the people that have been there. It's not only for the spiritual elite, because that's a whole thing that's not real. It's for the energetically on par. And I don't know if I would ever find it, but now we all at least know about it. So as we kind of consider traveling, in some sense, to Egypt on solstice, I wanted to offer also that Egypt, this is controversial archaeology, to say the least, what I'm going to offer next. But many people in Australia, the seers and the psychics and everything else will tell you that Egypt actually came to Australia. So this is Australian trees in the back of something that looks very much like a sphinx. This, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. It's spelled K-A-R-O-I-N-G, Karoing, potentially. There's a bunch of hieroglyphs that have been found. So somewhere near here, or actually right here, some people who have gone on pilgrimages with the Aborigines talk about this as an ancient birthing cave. But also, or near here is that, but this is actually what they've come to know. You can see the hieroglyphs on here. This is a tomb for an Egyptian pharaoh's brother. Hold on, let me find my notes. King Khufu, they say, traveled to Egypt, to Australia 46,000 years ago. And no, not King Khufu, the sons of King Khufu. And one of his sons, Neferu, was bitten by a snake, died. So this tomb was created for Neferu to entomb him there and to carry his body across the other side. And I mentioned song lines in the last topic about Uluru, because that's one of the ways that's how they experience their ley lines, their energetic lines. So this particular tomb, the Egypts knew it to be a sacred place. The Egyptians knew it to be a sacred place. So there's lots of stuff, if you look online, saying this is fake. Take it with your own grain of salt. A lot of people, some of the Egyptian elders who are not super public, and a lot of the psychics will go there, and dowsers go there, and they say it's definitely real. Let me show you a couple more of the hieroglyphs that are interesting. So here, this is just a little one, but they start to look, man, hang tight with me and my computer, guys. They start to look a little bit more Egyptian as you look at them. And this one even has a flying saucer. At least that's what people think this is, which would relate back to the Pleiadian energy, obviously. So there's all sorts of interesting stuff going on around Egypt, because, you know, those of us that know, have looked into the pyramids will also, you know, the pyramids have helicopters inscripted on them and flying saucers as well. And there's all sorts of interesting, cool inscriptions around Egypt about kind of like the Tesla type technology that they used, the Baghdad battery, as they called it, to create light, right? So all these pictures I'm showing you are in Karoing, for lack of a better pronunciation. Where to go next? Okay, I want to cover one more thing about Egypt in Australia, because this was new to me. I didn't really, like I said, when I knew we were going to hit Egypt for today's gathering, I was definitely thinking of the Temple of Karnak. I wasn't thinking that there would be an obvious connection to Uluru. But there's another place that it's called Gympie. So there's a pyramid at Gympie, another controversial pyramid. This is on private land. Here is a super old picture. You can't find this pyramid on your own. This is obviously, you can see something was built. A lot of the stuff that you see online that say it's fake is not a picture of this actual pyramid. But what, and I found this is kind of interesting. You can see that the natives of the land have, this is right near Gympie, Gympie. The sovereign tribes have declared this pyramid area a sacred site. And it was thought or known or understood that Egyptians would get their gold from this pyramid. And they felt that gold was the only substance, if I remember correctly, that could not be penetrated by the sun. So there was, I mean, if you've seen any of the Egyptian anything, gold was obviously something, a substance that they used and felt as valuable. And there's something called the Gympie ape, which in my understanding, when I've worked with some people that look at how natives mark their sites for each other, there's often something that looks like this. It's a guardian of a sacred site. So this Gympie ape, there's a lot of theories about what it is. The Aboriginals will likely tell you he's a guardian of this place where the Egyptians potentially sourced their gold and used it. So that's interesting to know that there is a potential connection. And so I want to bring us back to Karnak, but first I want to also just say that the Maori of New Zealand also trace their ancestry back to ancient Egypt. And there are holy sites in the Maori area that are used to communicate with Sirius. And that god Ptah definitely has his sort of Syrian hat on in that picture that I showed you. And the Aborigines, in a similar way, they'll get their origins back to the Pleiades, to the Seven Sisters. So Egyptian energy is likely connected to both. I'm going to stop this share and bring us back to Karnak, which is something that we're probably likely all more comfortable with. Like I said, take what I'm sharing with whatever grain of salt you'd like. So here we are at Karnak. Actually, let's go to Karnak at the sunrise, because that'll be more powerful. Let's go there because we're still in the early part of the day, at least where I'm at. So let's go to Karnak and just drop in for a moment and close your eyes. So imagine yourself here. I like this picture because there's nobody there, alone. Feeling the power of this vast, ancient, sacred temple. And here's this alignment, the sunrise on the 21st. And you can almost feel it humming from beneath your feet. In this image right here, the sun's right at the level of your heart, and there's all this energy from Egypt that comes from the sky, all this Syrian and Pleiadian energy that's just coming down. And so I want to invite us to take a little journey here. So you're in this image, you're on your own. Imagine there's a guide, an Egyptian, potentially the god Thoth, the ibis-headed god, or any other guide of yours that comes to show you where this chamber is that I mentioned that people in the public aren't led to, the chamber of Ptah. Ptah is the name of this god, the god of creation, the god that's showing us the power of our consciousness, and his consort Sekhmet, Sekhmet, the black lioness goddess. So this guide is taking you on a walk through the temple. You turn right, you turn left. There's a unimportant sort of sandy pathway. It looks like it's heading away, and then you turn left again, and you're right there. You're headed into this temple, and you can feel the sacredness and the purity of this energy. And so before you head into this temple for Ptah, your guide, whether it's Thoth, the Egyptian god, or any other guide, just wants you to prepare. So to prepare, just as we did the last two times, find that center of yourself. Find the all-knowing you, the you of many souls across many lifetimes. The you that knows that everything's exactly on target for the perfect unfoldment of a beautiful reality. Connect to that place, and then also connect to your heart. And then in your mind's eye, whenever you feel ready, you can turn to enter into this chamber, and there is this statue of this Egyptian god. And this particular statue is actually one of those that has been beheaded, but I showed you the picture of what they look like. So he's got this golden face. He's got eyes painted, and his head is otherworldly. It's like this blue orb of light. It's as if he's showing you the vastness of the galaxies of stars. So all to do right now is to just energetically communicate. Sit in meditation for a little bit of time. It won't be here for too long, but if there's anything you would like to receive or share, or just simply sort of bask in the vastness of this God and allow him to remind you of the power of your consciousness, the power that he's not bestowing it to you, he's pointing it out to you. He's helping you to return to it yourself, the power of your consciousness. And feel as if inside your own third eye area, as well as your heart, the light's expanding. As if you're getting attuned, a tune-up of sorts. If potentially we are powering up the grids of our planet Earth, and we are the microcosm of her macrocosm, then we too right now get to prepare to fire up, to see clearly, to run energy efficiently and brightly. So just let this time with this Egyptian god be a tune-up and attunement. And it's still just dawn, and it's still so quiet. And inside you is humming, light, wisdom. You can feel yourself as the vast expansiveness of the universe simultaneously. And as this human being in this body having this experience with the god Ptah, also just as the human being having this experience with this gathering on Solstice 2020. All of this is a potential reality at the same time. And just let yourself be in all these places, experiencing the universe as if you're looking into Ptah's head, and it's just, you can see Sirius and the Pleiades and all the beings of light and the stars. You're in this Egyptian temple, the temple to Ptah and Sekhmet. You're receiving this energetic transmission from him, helping you to wake up, fire efficiently, see clearly. And then you're also seated wherever you're seated, just breathing and just taking all of this in into your body right here, right now. Wonderful. And now your guide that brought you to this chamber with Ptah is telling you, signaling it's about time to go. So any gesture of thanks, maybe hands over your heart, or respect, honoring the presence of this being, and feel the attunement to the light that you've received. It's time to go back out just the way you came in. Back out so that you're standing right where this image is. You open your eyes, where you look at your screen right here at the sunrise in Karnak. There you are. And then bringing yourself back to this gathering. So one more thing I wanted to share for those of you who have just kind of basking in that. If there's any feedback, feel free to type it in the chat. I did a podcast where the goddess, Egyptian goddess Nut, came through. She's the sky goddess, and it's believed, this is one of the depictions of her, that the sun god Ra goes into her mouth with his boat every night and passes through her body, the sky of stars, and is birthed from her womb every dawn. it's said that Nut's consort or partner is Geb beneath her. And these two were inseparable. And it came through to me to offer that these two potentially are within each and every one of us, that we are moving beyond constructs of separation. So we're moving beyond constructs of even how we're embodied as females and males. You know, ideally, we're each the embodiment, half divine masculine, half divine feminine. And I want to offer this image of Nut is showing us that. The bliss of being able to embody, whether we're physically male or female, both. So that we each have a unique task at hand right now, and with that lens, that is to integrate the creative power, the wisdom of the divine masculine, and the inner power, the creative birthing of the divine feminine. All those, there's many different adjectives and things that we associate with male and female, but ultimately it all kind of falls away. It came through that maybe Nut is actually showing us this more, androgynous is the wrong word, but it kind of hits at it in the sense that ideally when we're balanced, we're both. So that there is no he, she, me, you separation, that we are understanding completely what it means to be one or the other. And also I'm kind of being shown, I'll stop that share, that message can go in so many directions. That message can go in races and religion and political and everything. So anyways, that's, we're getting close to my offering. Let's see if anybody has anything they want to share. Thank you. Feel current moving down through my feet. The podcast was lovely. You're welcome. Thank you. Felt turn a sense of love permeates the entire universe. Yeah. So I really initially, I guess I'll just share, I felt that the initial inspiration for Egypt was, why not? And of course, if this is one of the societies that we can't figure out and they've built some things that are according to all sorts of stars, of course they hit on the solstice. And let's go and see what that is about. The Australia thing, that was totally from left field. But one of the things that I liked about it was it showed us once again that we're not that separate, that we're not that. We are each unique individuals, but that message that came through from Nut is also we're not that different from each other. And I think that's also, as we seek to heal this collective, what if we are all just different versions of the same thing? That quote that I put in the email to remind us of, I forget what it was. It was a quote from Wayne Dyer, but it's kind of the idea of, see the light in everybody because you can. And even if you can see all the other stuff, choose to see the light. And when we choose to see the light, then we see the oneness. We feel the connection. David said, I saw a vision of purple sky and perfect city, place of cosmic pyramid-shaped places. Yes, well, Sirius and the Pleiades. We'll get to a little bit of that in the section about the Saturn-Jupiter conjunction that's coming on it too. This is Amy. I had a vision of each of the sites that have been brought to me in connection with the power of this day and over the past several days, as in the colors of a rainbow bridge. Yes, that reminds me about Uluru. I'm on the wrong topic, but the Uluru elders said that it's when the rainbow serpent that exists so this firing up of this magic box of crystals, the solar plexus chakra firing is another offering. The rainbow serpent becomes the rainbow bridge. And even the Andean shamans talk about this rainbow bridge. And part of it is that every aspect of humanity comes to see that we're all one. And I think we can all just get behind that that's necessary and that is ultimately where we're headed. So thank you guys. I'm grateful for all of you. I'm going to take a little bit of time. We gather next at 2 and 2:30. I'm going to put all these recordings up in the next couple hours. And I look forward to seeing everybody very shortly. And if you didn't catch some of the first, give me about an hour and I'll get all these recordings up for everybody. So blessings, happy solstice. And hey, if you want to keep sending that light through, be the conduit, Amazing. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, David. Thank you. Thank you, Kobe. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Love and blessings. Barbara says thank you. Yes. Bye, Barbara. Alice says thank you. Okay.